Hi there, Adapters and Adapters TechX. It is great to have everybody back on another show, and a big call out to the team there at Hunter Gather and the producers over there making this all happen, and our friends at No Vacancy with Glenn Hausman. I'm delighted to have Dawn Gallagher, Chief Commercial Officer with Crescent Hotels and Resorts, known Dawn for a long time, and she is probably the most impressive sales leader I've ever worked with back a number of years ago. And, we're going to talk about a number of topics. We're going to talk about what it means to be a third-party, well-known, large management company. Secondly, we're going to talk about those themes that are out there right now, workforce and what drives workforce choosing you and you choosing them. So, you have an incredible career. I mean, it's a marquee of the big names between Omni and Starwood, and now leading up a large organization with, again, banner name assets around the United States. You rose through these ranks. What was the quick fire? You made it. How did you make it?
That's a good question. I mean, I think that first and foremost, I'm just as competitive as you are. So if you're competitive, you have to think 3 steps ahead of where you think that you are currently. And that, I think that provides that, that forward look that you need. Hardworking and willing to learn. And I think that most importantly, I think it's just a competitive drive that, gosh, I met Seán Worker, and now how do I put him on my timeline? How do I get to his position? And then from his position, how do I get to the next position? So I think that foundationally, I'm happy that I was able to work on the sales side and the revenue side, because I think it set me up for broader success in taking a look at an entire commercial organization and moving it forward. But I don't know. I think that it's the Irish in us.
Yeah, it must be, constantly on the move, no permanent home. What can I tell you?
Exactly.
So there's something off there on your right, isn't there, on the board there? What's on that board of yours?
Oh, it's just, it's the kind of, you should always have a mantra, right? If it's not over when you lose, it's over when you quit. Because there have been times where I've lost, but I'm not going to quit. I think, the other saying would be, if we can lose the inning, but we better damn well not lose the game.
Absolutely. And that's clearly your mantra, and you have been very consistent. You're like a nuclear power plant. So when we think of topics that out there are somewhat nuclear, and we've seen some big shifts. There's big themes out there right now, just coming off some board meetings and other stuff. There's the theme of what happens next. What's the after, there was the before times, the after times, and we're heading for more after times, the after times. And there's big themes out there. There's themes about inflation, energy, workforce. When you look at the nature of demands from, you're hiring a lot of salespeople, you're hiring a lot of, rainmakers, yield managers, directors of revenue management. I mean, go through the list. Have you seen any shift in how they look now at the industry, considering they have other options now that have been kicked wide open as a result of the after times, if you will? Is there traits that you're saying?
Oh, yeah. So first and foremost, I would tell you that everybody wants to work from home. Nobody wants to work back in a hotel any longer. So today, when you're recruiting, you're going to get double the number of candidates if there is an option to work from home. And maybe that option to work from home is only 3 days. But we would have never considered that pre-COVID. You would have considered having remote work sales folks in different locations to feed leads into another location, but not to be in the same area and work from home. But that is coming out of COVID. That is the biggest desire of most is how do I do this and work from home?
And is that a common trait regardless of job? It's kind of hard for the chef to work from home, right? So, or maybe it is. Maybe it can just send it in. But cook and get it delivered by Deliveroo or something. But are you seeing that across all the roles?
I think you see it more in sales and marketing. It's almost 100% director of revenue management piece, because again, if they're working multiple hotels, they don't really need to be within the hotel.
Right.
Again, the line level front desk staff has to stay at the front desk. There's nothing else you can do with that. But it's understanding how to create an environment back at a hotel that becomes exciting again. And I think that's we're in an interesting place to say, what does the future look like when we're trying to staff hotels, and who can work from home, who stays at the hotel? Because in the end, as a leader, as a general manager, they want everybody on property, all hands on deck. How do we make things happen? So how do you kind of move through what we consider this next phase in, where you do have some that do work from home, or finance again is another one. Some finance, I should say, could work from home as well. More people want that opportunity to work from home, and so how do we look at that piece moving forward to say, what's the pay scale difference? Should there be a pay scale difference when you have somebody working from home, or when you have somebody working at the hotel who has to commute, who has to get dry cleaning and has to, get up and get ready for the day? Is there a difference between what you look at moving forward as you approach different ways to recruit?
the age where the hospitality, travel and tourism hospitality space gets real and recognizes that we don't need that. We don't need to see. I think that day's dead in some respects, but do you really need to see every employee every day so you can count them? I mean, really? It's other industries don't do that.
It's a bit old school, right? So,
I'm just saying, I'm observing, I'm not judging.
Yeah, no, you don't have to judge. There are parts of it that are a bit old school. And then there are parts and then there are other hotels and other leaders that do what's right to make sure that they're attracting the top talent to make the hotel more successful.
So when we think of it, we're wrapping up here now, and you're talking to an audience that is going, we haven't had, an expert on sales. So what would be the tips for leadership that when they're thinking about who they should hire, or what metrics you use to say, or what tips you say, look, this is a great sales force. This is your tips and takes and how to make it better. Whatever way you want to interpret that, love to hear your tips and takes.
You have to engage with people on so many different levels. It's a matter of the personality that you're hiring for that sales job. In different times, you'd hire somebody for Rolodex, but those people don't exist any longer. That Rolodex, they've moved on to different careers and different organizations. You have to really start with a bunch of self-starters that look at sales and look at the industries that they're deployed to as their own business. If pharma is my business, then I have to treat it as a business. And I want to look for people that are business owners, that have a sales sense, but that are business owners in owning their segment and understanding everything as a part of it, to then apply that across that, that divide and be more successful.
Perfect. That's pretty straightforward. So thank you so much for taking the time. Lots of great quick hits there. And we're going to do quick tips right now. So thanks again. And we will see you on the other side when we do our long form podcast. So great to have you on. Thanks for the time. All right, everybody, as we wrap up the show, the quick tips there is when you're thinking about workforce, it's more complicated. Secondly, when you're building a sales force, these are self-starters. They are individuals that own a category. So it could be farmers. So they may well translate pretty well across into the hospitality industry. It's critical, obviously, to have the right technology in place. And that one stat that struck me from the beginning is that when announcing and promoting a job that is a sales job in particular, and it's out there, you better say it's working from home, or else you get 50% less candidates. That's a wake-up call for all of us in the space, and a true reflection of the times. So thanks again. Thanks to the team at Hunter Gatherer and all of our friends out there, and of course to our team at Questex and ACH, and how we think about what's going on in hospitality. Keep looking over the fence. Thanks again for your time.